In this video we are going to talk about the JP Morgan stock. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. If you're searching for a long-term investment, I believe JP Morgan Chase, NYSE, JPM, is always a good choice. It is the largest bank in the United States in terms of total assets, and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, is widely regarded as one of the industry's most recognized CEOs. The bank emerged from the Great Recession in 2008 and had one of the greatest decades of any large bank between 2010 and 2020. However, because there is so much uncertainty in the air, if you asked me if I would buy JP Morgan Chase right now, my response would be slightly more tricky. Over the following few months, there may be an opportunity to purchase the company at a cheaper price. Let's look into it. There is a great deal of short-term uncertainty. The bank made a $2.9 billion profit in the first quarter of this year, a considerable decrease from the $8 billion and $9 billion profits it had made in previous periods. This is due in major part to the coronavirus pandemic and social distancing policies, which have harmed all sectors of the economy, from homes to enterprises. The pandemic forced JP Morgan to set aside $8.3 billion in the form of a credit provision to cover any future loan losses. When you consider that the banking giant's single greatest quarterly credit provision during the Great Recession was $8.6 billion, it's a massive figure. I don't believe banks are facing the same problems they did during the Great Recession, but this illustrates how catastrophic the pandemic has been to the economy, and how much of a problem it could remain. JP Morgan executives expect the cash set aside to cover loan losses to grow in the second quarter, with riskier credit card loans accounting for 15% of the bank's loan portfolio. Furthermore, there are numerous virus-related problems that could pose a threat to a large bank such as JP Morgan. What if there's a second round of COVID-19 cases, resulting in even more social isolation? What happens if a viable vaccination isn't available for another 2 years? These factors have the potential to significantly increase bank loan losses. The dividend. I also believe that JP Morgan may need to consider reducing its dividend at some point this year. A quarterly dividend is a drop in the bucket for a bank like JP Morgan, which has more than $220 billion in retained earnings. Even if the bank has a string of weak quarters, it can still afford to pay its regular dividend. The problem is that if capital levels fall below a specific level, regulatory constraints apply. Existing clients at JP Morgan, concerned about their cash flow and liquidity, drew down $50 billion on revolving lines of credit in the first quarter of the year, and JP Morgan also approved $25 billion in new credit extensions. This contributed significantly to the bank's Common Equity Tier 1, CET1, capital ratio falling 90 basis points, 0.90%, to 11.5% in the quarter. When it comes to the dividend, the CET1, which is a ratio of a bank's core capital to risk-weighted assets, is critical. To avoid some restrictions on capital distribution such as dividends, JP Morgan must maintain a CET1 of 10.5%, according to authorities. JP Morgan is required to maintain a CET1 of 10.5% or less, which is more than any other bank in the country. Other significant banks, such as Bank of America, are only required to maintain a CET1 of 9.5% or less. I'm not sure JP Morgan's CET1 will decrease so dramatically in Q2, but we still don't know how the virus will play out, and there might be another round of physical separation in the future. Should I buy JP Morgan stock? All effective traders advise sticking to a trading plan rather than making judgments based on personal preferences, rumors, or sentiments. Trading techniques are designed to assist you in deciding which stocks to buy and when the optimum time is to buy them. At Stocks2.com, we prefer to use trend-following trading strategies that are both easy and effective. Simple solutions are frequently the most effective. Is $JPM stock a good investment? JP Morgan stock now corresponds to one trading strategy. Buying on all-time highs, ATH, breakouts is one of the most popular trading methods. The advantage of buying at all-time highs is that the price of the stock does not struggle against upper resistance and usually scales quickly. However, there's a chance that a bull's trap will activate your buy order, causing it to fall abruptly. That is why a stop loss is essential at all times. JP Morgan can easily reach ATH in the near future, as it only needs to rise 4.46%. If you wish to trade this method, the purchase point is $167.44. At $150.70, a stop loss would be placed. If you own JP Morgan stock, should you sell or keep it? Similarly to deciding when it is appropriate to acquire shares, selecting when it is appropriate to sell is not a haphazard decision, and we must stick to our own trading strategy. Our trading system uses basic algorithms to determine when the optimum time is to sell a stock. It's important to note that these tactics shouldn't be utilized to short JP Morgan shares. A golden rule is that you should never keep a deal that causes you to lose more money than you intended at the time of purchase. The stop loss should always be used to determine when to sell shares, automatic or manual. Is it time to get rid of your JP Morgan stock? There is no qualifying sell setting in JP Morgan's current condition, therefore stockholders with profitable operations can preserve their stakes. JP Morgan has a high rating. JP Morgan has only had one rating published in the last month. Bollinger Bands are a type of band that is used to. The Bollinger Bands movement on the chart shows that they are very near to each other, 4.54%, indicating that price volatility is low. Reduced volatility is frequently the precursor to a sharp movement, up or down, so we must be vigilant and handle our buy and sell orders accordingly. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, is a measure of how strong something is in comparison. When the indicator travels for so long below 70 and above 30, without signaling overbought and oversold periods, it loses its usefulness, and we are currently in one of these circumstances. The history of JP Morgan's stock price. JP Morgan began trading on March 17, 1980, at a price of $0 per share. Since then, JP Morgan Chase's stock has increased by, averaging 0.00% a year. In March 1980, a $1,000 investment would be worth $INF today. Nobody can predict how much a stock will cost tomorrow. Banks and financial institutions publish their forecasts for how a specific stock will perform in the future. The following table displays analyst price expectations from the previous 30 days. Again, these forecasts are not specific advice for individual investors and should not be taken at face value. There is only one price target for JP Morgan, which is $200. Financials and earnings. Last April, JP Morgan Chase & Co. JPM, reported earnings of $4.50 per share, much exceeding the Wall Street consensus expectation of $3.10 per share. This quarterly report represents a 45.16% profit surprise. Analysts had predicted $30.5 billion in sales, but sales came in at $33.1 billion. The reported EPS for the same quarter last year was 78 cents, so the current EPS is a 476.92% increase. Revenue increased by 82.96% compared to the same quarter previous year, when it was $199.1 billion. JP Morgan, JPM, will release its second quarter financial report in mid-July. This quarter's forecast is $3.08, down from $4.50 in the first quarter. Bottom line. According to MarketSmith chart analysis, JPM stock is not a buy right now because its climb above the purchase target has slowed. JP Morgan, like other big banks, has a dismal track record when it comes to outperforming the market for long periods of time. What are your thoughts on our video? Please let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear from me again, please subscribe and turn on the notification before leaving. Thank you for watching us.